Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Hallelujah! It finally happened after 4 long years of witnessing this absolute injustice, this absolute legal travesty. After all the heartache and sorrow, we finally have some closure and finally the right thing has been done. In other words, we finally have some justice. The January 6 hostages have officially been pardoned by Donald Trump through executive order, which accounts for around 1,500 people who have been sitting in jail for years, political prisoners whom Donald Trump has officially freed. Folks, this is a win for America, it's a win for justice, and everybody who believes in the Constitution. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Okay, so let's just start off by the initial announcement. Here's Donald Trump taking the bold action.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon. So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. If you're expecting it.
And first off, I just want to applaud the language that Donald Trump actually used in his statement. He did the right thing and called these people hostages. And he's absolutely right for that. That is exactly what they were. Hostages of the deep state, locked up for not what they did, but what they believe. You know, the left is always talking about democracy, but what kind of democracy imprisons people for simply engaging in a protest? It's absolutely horrible. And it's obvious what happened here. These people were pawns in the establishment's sick game to scare people into silence. And you could tell that it was all an intimidation tactic. It was all about sending a message because of how heavy-handed the approach was for people who simply just existed on the day. We're not talking about people who committed violent crimes. We're talking about people who just showed up to protest, essentially being treated like terrorists. And some of these people have been held without trial or sentencing for years. You heard that right, for years. It's been an absolutely horrendous affair, and it flies in the face of everything we know about the rule of law. You're supposed to be entitled to a fair and expedited trial, but that's not what happened for so many people who got swept up in this whole thing. People's lives were destroyed, and that's been an outrage to witness. And what took place here, in my view, was essentially narrative taking precedent, not only over the truth, but over people's lives. People's lives were destroyed, families were torn apart, all to build up this bogus narrative. While we're celebrating justice prevailing and the bold action that President Trump took, the propagandists at CNN seem to be mourning the loss of control over the narrative.
Thanks, America.
This feels like a betrayal to you.
Oh, I have been betrayed by my, rest assured, I have been betrayed by my country, and I've been betrayed by those that supported Donald Trump. Whether you voted for him because he promised these pardons or for some other reason, you knew that this was coming. And here we are.
Oh, the outrage. Obviously, somebody's a little bit upset because he got called mean names by a group of dudes wearing MAGA hats, but you're really gonna sit there on CNN and tell us that the January 6 protesters deserve to rot in jail for 4 years without a trial? I mean, come on, that's not justice, that's tyranny. These people were railroaded by a corrupt system. Again, people's lives were ruined just for showing up to a protest. But we're seriously gonna have these people continuing to act like January 6 was some sort of apocalypse? Stop it. Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's time for the leftists to let this one go. You lost the narrative battle. Nobody is buying your crap anymore. We've covered the polling data. January 6 wasn't a violent insurrection led by Donald Trump speeding the beast into the Capitol. It's got to stop, and honestly, that's not just an opinion on the issue, that's sound advice. Because if you leftoids keep beating this dead horse, eventually you're going to tarnish your image more than it already is. And I think Scott Jennings made that point quite succinctly on CNN. Take a look.
I would just humbly and respectfully submit to you all that if this is the conversation you intend to have, and the script you intend to read for the next 4 years, you are going to continue to get politically punished by the American people who are desperate to look into the future and not continue to wring hands about the
only person.
I'm sorry.
The only person who brought this up today, Scott, was Donald Trump. Okay, he was the one who put it on the agenda. He was the one who pardoned all these people. He did not have to do that.
No,
he didn't have to do it,
well,
and he
promised
did it.
He was going to.
So
do
when
it.
you talk about looking forward, why isn't he looking forward?
He is looking forward, and I think what he would say is, I'm trying to put this behind us. And Democrats and the media are continuing to try to make this the center of our national political conversation.
I
I'm trying to put this behind us.
Tomorrow Donald Trump will still talk about him winning the 2020 election and still talk about January 6th.
He's absolutely right. People are sick of the left trying to guilt trip us into believing that supporting Trump is somehow un-American, or that these protesters, which were mostly just salt-of-the-earth people and patriots, that these people are somehow horrible, irredeemable terrorists who deserve to be put in a jail cell with the key thrown away. Supporting the release of these J6 hostages is not un-American at all. It's the right thing to do. But you know what is un-American? Ding, ding, ding. What happened to these J6ers? The way laws were twisted and manipulated by Joe Biden's DOJ, Merrick Garland, to go after these people. Again, this is what needs to be reiterated in every single J6 video. They used an Enron-era statute, a total BS law, to jail peaceful protesters. And the Supreme Court ruling on the issue is the only receipt that we need. Voting 6-3, the justices limited the Justice Department's use of a 2002 law that makes it a crime to obstruct an official proceeding. The majority said that the law enacted in response to the Enron Corporation collapse is designed to protect documents and other records and wouldn't apply simply to the act of trying to stop a congressional proceeding. Yet that law was used to hit these people with major felonies in an effort to make an example of them. That's the real scandal. That's what's truly un-American. So miss me with all this faux outrage, please. The leftist lawfare apparatus literally abused a law that was designed to protect documents and records to jail their political opponents without a fair trial. That's the true story, and this comes, of course, after almost 10 years of fear-mongering that Donald Trump would jail his political opponents.
This is a president who has talked about absolutely using the Justice Department to go after his rivals.
I mean, talk about a lack of self-awareness. The outrage that we're seeing from the left on this issue is totally misguided. And actually, speaking of misguided outrage, or in this case, faux outrage, and lack of self-awareness, ironically enough, Nancy Pelosi decided to chime in on the issue. Oh, the horror, right? Oh, the horror. Right on cue. Nancy Pelosi writes on X, "Tonight the president announces pardons and commutations of sentences for those who violently attacked the Capitol and law enforcement officers on J6. The president's actions are an outrageous insult to our justice system." Blah, blah, blah. I'm not even going to read the rest. You pretty much get the gist of it. Again, lack of self-awareness. Nobody wants to hear any of this crap coming from Nancy Pelosi, who refused to send in the National Guard to secure the Capitol, despite the repeated warnings. No, what did she do instead? She showed up with a documentary film crew so she could build up her insurrection narrative. Give me a break. It's over. Nobody's buying into it anymore. Justice has been served. The J6 hostages are going home. These families have been made whole again. Donald Trump took the bold action needed, and essentially the story ends there. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.